Hello, my name is Eduardo Salazar. I am a licensed professional counselor in Northwest Houston, and I started a private practice called Compass Counseling Solutions, and I'm also a pastor at Champion Forest Baptist Church. You can check us out at www.championforest.org, and I serve in the ministry of pastoral care. And recently, I tweeted a question, and the question was to ask your spouse, your kids, your family, and friends, why do we not hesitate disappointing our spouse and kids, but are eager to please others? And so then I actually gave an answer later, and the answer that I posted was, we assume that they'll forgive us and others won't. We value others more. And three, we're believing but not following Jesus. So I just wanted to post a video and kind of hash that out a little bit more. And hopefully this will be helpful and encouraging to you guys. And the reason this came up was actually just on, I think it was a couple nights ago, Thursday night. I was at the gym, and I was supposed to stay after to go to a function at church. It wasn't something I had to go to, something that I really wanted to go to. And I was going to go also to support my friend who leads this ministry. It's actually called True North Outfitters. It's an outdoors men's ministry that our church has. And so I planned to go, and also a friend, Nathan Ingram, was going to come and speak that night. And so my wife texted me, told me that it'd really be helpful to her if I was at home and helping the girls prepare for a social studies test. My twins had a social studies test. And so she wasn't willing to really come out and say that she needed me or to come home, or that she was wanting me even to come home, or she didn't tell me. She just said it would be helpful. And so unlike other times, I took the initiative and I just ended up going home. And on the way out, I actually ran into my friend, and I asked him this question, why is it so easy or easier for me to disappoint my wife and my kids, and yet I'm so eager to please other people first? And he said it was a good question. So that's why I posted these tweets. And then that night, I wrote down some thoughts that I had. Then this is something that I think I've learned in my personal life, and also in my 14 years of counseling individuals and couples and kids. But the first thing that came to mind was that we assume that our wife and our children will forgive us and that others won't. And unfortunately, the fact is that forgiveness does come at a cost. There are consequences, and are we willing to pay for that? I mean, the fact is, either I'm going to disappoint my wife and my kids, or I was going to disappoint my friend. Who do I choose? Kind of like Andy Stanley's book, Choosing to Cheat. I get to decide who I let down. I get to decide who I cheat, my wife and my kids, or my friend. And that's tough. That doesn't mean that we should always let down our friends. I mean, we should let our yes be yes and our no be no, and be consistent and follow through with commitments. But I think that's just the fact that we have to come to terms with, that there is a cost and consequences that we have to be willing to pay when it comes to who's going to forgive us. So what's the solution? Maybe we should reverse this. Maybe we should, rather than assume that our loved ones will forgive us and that others won't, maybe we should assume that our loved ones won't forgive us and that others will. Because the fact is, that's what usually happens. My friend was fine. He completely understood, supported me, and encouraged me to go home and help Ashley by helping the girls study for their social studies. And they did really well. So unfortunately, though, again, there's a problem here. Sometimes we value in the wrong order. We value things in the wrong order. Um, and then even, sometimes maybe we should just ask, the person that we are talking with, like my wife that night. Maybe I should just ask, will you forgive me if I choose this over you? Um, and regardless of whether they say yes or no, that helps us and them make the decision. Maybe they'll say, I will forgive you, but I still need you to come home. Or I will forgive you, but just because I forgive you doesn't mean you should go to that. Choose me. Um, and I think what this does is communicates the seriousness of our decision, and also gives them a voice. It allows them to share some control. Second point. Here's my second point. And the other reason why it can be so easy to let down and disappoint our loved ones, and how we are really quick to want to please others. We prioritize or value, or at least communicate valuing other people more. So the fact is, either when we choose something else besides our family, children, or God first, whether it's true or not, we're communicating that those other things are more important than God and family. And that's hurtful, obviously. So the fact is, if you're asking your loved ones what they want you to do, like I did that night when I was asking my wife, what do you want me to do? I mean, it's like asking, should I value this more or before you? That can be hurtful. They can't really answer honestly without really starting a disagreement or arguing with you. And then really maybe the solution is, as a rule, we should communicate clearly through our actions. And so therefore that's why I went home and again supported my wife by helping the girls. I let my actions speak louder than my words. I could have said, I love you and you're more important, but I'm going to do this. But that's really giving a mixed message. So communicate clearly through my actions, and exceptions, we should use words if necessary. Now, what I mean by that is sometimes I have to choose other things, and my wife understands that, but that really should be the exception. My words should be an exception. The rule should be that my actions follow through with what I value and what I prioritize. So here's sometimes a problem that people will bring up, though. They say, well, my wife or my husband, she's insecure or he's insecure. They're jealous because I've tried this. And they still don't think I value them or prioritize them. What I would tell you is, well, are you doing what you're doing with joy, or are you doing it with bitterness? I mean, I could have gone home, and I kind of did that night, and I just was kind of upset that I had to go home. I was a little bitter about it, and I didn't really enjoy being at home and helping the girls as much as I could have. That bled through, and I communicated it to Ashley. And so the fact is, she probably would have rather me not come home to help her with that kind of attitude. Because it's not necessarily what I do or say, but how I do something and how I say it. I have to do things with an attitude of gratitude. And I have to look at it as an opportunity to serve and make my wife feel and my kids feel like I see them as an opportunity to serve rather than an obstacle to have to serve them. And then the third point, and another reason why it's sometimes easier to please others than it is to disappoint, our wife and kids. The fact is, we're believing, but we're not following Jesus. It's probably that our intimate, personal love relationship with Jesus is lacking, and we're just not investing enough time and energy in knowing Him better. Because the fact is, if you spend time with Him, that means you're following Him. If you spend time with Him, He's going to rub off on you. If you're spending time with Him, you're learning about His character, His personality, and you're going to want to desire to be like Him. If you're not in a relationship with Him, if you're not spending time with Him, if you're not investing, then you're not going to get anything out of that. And we're not going to be followers of Jesus. We'll believe and agree with what He says and what He teaches, but we won't be doing it. He won't be working in and through us. We'll just have facts at the end of the day and information. But like I've heard people say many times, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So we need to let our actions speak louder than words by not just believing, but following Jesus through our personal, intimate love relationship with Him, which then overflows into our intimate relationship with other people. So the solution, we need to be in prayer. We need to be worshiping God. We need to be reading our Bible and studying it. We need to be hearing it, and at the end of the day, applying those truths. Because you can know a lot, but if you don't apply it, it's not going to be effective. And so when we discuss it, when we fellowship with other people, when we share, that holds us accountable. That reinforces what we've learned. And so more and more we'll have this desire to teach. And that really is an indicator of our growth, I think. So I really encourage you to do those things. And the fact is, if we're not in a good relationship with God, that means we're probably in a relationship with the enemy without even knowing it. And the fact is, we know that the Bible teaches that bad company corrupts good morals. And so if we're not spending time with God, unfortunately we're spending time with the enemy. And God's tests for us, that test that God gave me to show my family that I love them first, becomes a temptation that the devil ends up tempting me with. You don't worry, your family will forgive you. But your friend, you gotta be there for your friend. And I fall to that temptation. I fail, and I'm not a good witness to God. So there's a problem with this. Some people would say, I do this, but I'm busy. I don't understand what the Bible says, or it takes two to tango. The fact is, none of us are too busy. I could say that I'm busy, but the fact is, I just don't make time. I'm distracted by a lot of either neutral or even good things, which is one of Satan's most common tools. So Satan wants you to be comfortable. He wants you to be busy and not focused and effective. So sometimes we need to really start saying no to things that are less important for the right reasons, and not yes to things that are less important for the wrong reasons. And when it comes to understanding what the Bible teaches, don't expect to understand the God of the universe quickly. He's a person that is complex, he's multifaceted, but he's very interesting, and he's worth investing time and energy getting to know. And you can get help. I mean, the fact is, we have, you can go to church, you can get in a relationship with a mentor or a friend or a pastor or somebody that you feel that has a better relationship with God. And the other thing is, it takes two to tango. I'm doing this, but my wife isn't. Well, if you're doing this, or if you're in a relationship with God for results, or for the other person, that's not going to work. Relationships shouldn't be conditional on performance. We really should love unconditionally. We should do it for God. We should do it for self. And the result is that others will be blessed. That shouldn't be, again, the goal, necessarily to just be effective. It's just the result is that others will be blessed. So don't worry about the other person. Don't focus on that. Focus on yourself. Focus on what you can change and what you can do. And the opportunities that you have, and don't look at people as obstacles, or even though they have responsibility in this situation, the only thing you're responsible for is your actions and what you can do to improve the situation. So I really appreciate your time. I hope this helps, and hopefully in the future I can make more of these videos and then connect them to these questions that I'm asking and these answers that I'm providing. And come to Champion Force. I hope that in the future I can maybe teach more on these things and share them through the people that I counsel with there, through the Ministry of Pastoral Care, or also in the Engaged Couples Workshop that I teach with my wife, Ashley. Anyway, God bless you, and talk to you soon.